want to start with the Remax National Housing Report. Remax produces a report every month that just talks about what's going on in the marketplace, and it kind of coincides with some of the things I said to Susan Taylor Martin with the Tampa Bay Times this week, that this time of year, real estate historically does slow down a little bit. We see a slowdown in the number of units and in the price. So we see a little bit of a softening there that we expect obviously starts to trend back in the other direction. In the National Housing Report, the median sales price year over year, though, for Tampa was 11%. So, we had a great year. Prices are up, and motivation is up. My only concern that I've relayed is inventory. We still have a lack of inventory, and that causes, frustration in the marketplace for buyers, for brokers, when buyers can't find homes or they're losing out in bidding wars, and it drives prices up. Looking at the National Housing Report, we're not the only market that has that experience. Prices were up in Des Moines, San Francisco, Miami, and Portland, all double-digit increases in the, increase in prices. Increase in transactions, you saw Boise, Providence, Boston, Burlington, Baltimore, and Augusta, Maine, with the highest percentage year-over-year change in the number of transactions. That's one of the things I think I'm a little concerned about with our real estate market this year is I'm concerned with whether or not we're going to have as many transactions because of the lack of inventory, because of the stock market and the political impacts on elections. A lot of people, asked me this past week, well, why do elections matter? Why does the election matter? It's really psychological. It's emotional. People have fear. They have fear-based thinking, and they're concerned about the country in an election year, so they choose to sit on the sidelines. So it doesn't have a direct, logical, mathematical impact. It's an emotional one.
It's very, very reactionary, I guess you could say.
Very much so. And speaking of, so the rise in price, that the national report shows, the number of transactions being higher last year, where my prediction is they'll be lower this year in Tampa because of those challenges. But should you buy now or wait until next year? And I'm going to put this infographic up on our socials later today or tomorrow so you can see them. But there was a great infographic that came out. I believe it was it from Fannie or Freddie? Freddie Mac, CoreLogic, and Bankrate kind of put this infographic together. And I thought it was a really good topic, concerning millennials and people that are thinking about buying a home and kind of the overall understanding of the market as to why you should buy now and not wait till next year. Because I think, David, we've already established interest rates are going up, right?
I mean, that's what everyone's predicting.
Yeah, and we've seen them bump a little bit. There's been some, kind of ebb and flow. This report predicted that within 1 year they'll be at 4.8 from the 4 that they're at now.
That's basically what we're hearing. Yeah, it should be in the probably mid to upper 4s by the end of the year.
And then home price calculations, they used an average across the market with an increase of 5.3%, which is what most economists are predicting, would go from $250 to $263,250. Your mortgage payment in that scenario would go from a little short of $1,200 to almost $1,400 a month. So a $200 a month increase if you wait until next year to buy because interest rates and prices. I really kind of baffle at that. Why would you wait? Why you're going to lose $200 a month? That's a couple of dinners out. That's a great hockey game. That's you can have a lot of fun with $200 a month, and you're going to lose it if you keep sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think it's important to clarify your comments of you think that less homes will sell this year. That's really last year was a good year in real estate,
right?
And I think that this year will also be a good year in real estate. But what you're saying is maybe a little bit less than what the economists are predicting.
I think in the number of sales, and it's merely a situation of we don't have enough people putting homes on. We just don't have enough inventory for the buyers. We have more demand, and what happens when you have more demand than supply? Prices go up. So we continue to have that obstacle where I think the 5% they're predicting nationally I think it may even be a better gain on price here this year because of that lack of supply. You're going to have people gravitating towards the same inventory.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, activity has been very high already at the beginning of this year, and there's people that are getting pre-approved, getting pre-qualified to purchase a new home, and I think rising rents are having that effect on people as well. I mean,
sure,
the rents are going up as well, and
yep.
I think that when you compare between the cost of buying and cost of renting, as we've discussed many times over, it probably is going to make sense for you in a long-term perspective to buy.
Yeah, and I think if you look at it, most landlords are using rent evaluations, but a lot of to determine what they charge. a lot of that's based on the landlords having mortgages, sometimes adjustable rate mortgages, sometimes their costs going up, and then just looking, so you have a lot more volatility or fluctuation in what you're going to pay when you're a renter, because every year it could go up. If you buy a house, yeah, your taxes can go up a little bit and your insurance can go up a little bit, but if you buy a fixed rate, you know what you're paying, and you know what you're paying for the next, long period of time until you refinance or until you pay the house off. That was one of the things that I thought was really powerful. The $200 a month comes to, over $2,000 a year. Over 30 years, if you wait to buy a year and then stay in that home forever, it's going to cost you $67,000 more to wait a year. I mean, that's a lot. That's a whole year of working for some people. Some as many as 2 years. So, again, at that time in your life, later on in life when you're about to retire and you really need that income, that waiting 1 year could have cost you a massive amount of your retirement nest egg by waiting versus looking at the options of buying now, locking in that low rate, buying before prices rise. It's one of those scenarios where sometimes it's tough when you see somebody wait to buy until they've got a little bit more money, even though they could have, and then what they don't realize is the compounding effect that they get hit with later in life because they waited a year or two.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear out there. I mean, we've seen what the markets have done in the stock markets these last couple of weeks, and it's, as we also have discussed many times, I mean, the markets are cyclical. I mean, if you don't expect that things to ever go down and go up and go down and go up, you're crazy. I mean, let's look at recent history to see that that's going to be true. So, but the thing is, let's think about your particular situation. You have to realize what is your short-term and long-term goals here, because it's different for everybody. We've talked many times that buying is not the correct move for everybody, but it's something, if it was the right move for you a couple months ago, then it's definitely the right move for you right now if you didn't do it.
That was one of the things. So Susan Taylor Martin with the Times interviewed me last week. Tampa Bay home sales surged in 2015, but what's next? And I was quoted in there as just being honest and saying, I don't believe that this year has the same oomph at the beginning of the year that last year had. And it has me a little bit concerned about, are we going to see as many sales? Is the market going to be as great as it was last year, or is it going to slow a little bit? Historically, election years have a slower real estate market and a slower economy. People are more fear-based. They're more emotion-based. They see the stock market getting hammered. They're afraid to go buy a home and take the risk because they think the whole world might implode, which isn't going to happen, but that's how some people think.
Right.
So I think that, in addition to the lack of inventory that we've got locally, with people staying in their homes longer, with new construction not keeping up with buyer demand in the areas that buyers want to be in, and it's nothing against all the new home builders, but they're buying where they can afford land, and where they can afford land sometimes isn't where the millennial wants to live. You obviously can't create more in some of the neighborhoods that millennials might want to live, but that's a challenge that we see that I think again hopefully fixes itself over time.